Soros, BlackRock, the CCP. Normally three entities, people, evil motherfuckers that you just kind of put in a box in the do not touch, do not think about category of life. But then when one breaks away from the situation, you find yourself asking a couple of questions, like, who pissed off who? What the fuck is happening? And am I about to agree with George fucking Soros? Maybe, kind of. I'm just very, very skeptical of his intentions in this situation, because this is fucking George Soros, after all, the fucking money collector for the Nazis, okay? Let's fucking cool our jets, the funder for Black Lives Matter and Antifa. Soros warns BlackRock's investment in repressive China risks U.S. national security, which you've worked hard for the past couple of decades in order to undermine. That's why I've got questions. That's why I've got a lot of questions. Hedge fund titan George Soros on Monday slammed BlackRock for funneling billions of dollars into China. That's his job. Hey, stop stepping on my feet. Hey, that's my ground. That's my ground. A move, he said, imperils clients' money and U.S. security. Like he cares. Soros, in a Wall Street Journal op-ed, said BlackRock's investment in China is tantamount to propping up an oppressive regime. This is so weird. He warned it's likely to lose money for BlackRock's clients, and, more important, will damage the national security interests of the United States and other democracies. This is so weird to hear George Soros talk lovingly about democracy, or at least have an inkling concern. What's his play in this? BlackRock is the world's largest money manager, with $9.5 trillion under management. That's why it should be noted when they're buying up fucking neighborhoods in the Midwest, thanks to the pandemic closing everything down. It's a moment of pause that you should be taking in reflecting. But my private companies, right? Last month, BlackRock introduced mutual funds in China for Chinese investors to buy after getting the green light from President Xi Jinping. I think this is all rooted in jealousy. To launch investment products earlier this year, shortly after getting approval, BlackRock's recommended clients invested more money in China. But even as China opens itself up to foreign investment, following various trade agreements stuck with the U.S., Soros, who's known for supporting left causes. Don't conflate left with liberal. Causes throughout his Open Societies Foundation, warns it's a serious mistake for banks and other financial institutions to expand their presence in the nation. Soros called out BlackRock CEO Winnie the Pooh and Chairman Larry Fink, as well as Blackstone CEO and Chairman Steven Schwarzman, and former Goldman Sachs President John Thornton for jumping at the prospect of business opportunities dangled by Mr. Xi. Yeah, listen to a guy who's probably lost millions, if not billions, on doing the same thing. Again, this is weird. It's like a heel versus heel matchup, and I just want them both to get injured. The United States and China have a large and complex economic relationship, BlackRock said. Total trade in goods and services between the two countries exceeded 600 billion in 2020. Though our investment activity, or through rather, reading is hard. Hopefully they invest some money in my education. Through our investment activity, U.S.-based asset managers and other financial institutions contribute to the economic interconnectedness. Should they just buy a new word? Of the world's two largest economies. Xi has used his power to crack down on multiple successful companies over the last year, including halting Alibaba's Ant Group IPO just days before the company was set to go public, and launching a probe into the ride-hailing company Didi days after it listed on the American exchange. And where's Jack Ma, by the way? Still hasn't been found, still hasn't been seen. But yeah, no, he's the richest Chinese man in the world. I'm pretty sure he runs Alibaba. He was set to launch that IPO and hasn't been seen in months. Soros has spoken out against repressive regimes before. He survived Nazi occupation in Hungary during World War II and moved to England after the war. You're glossing over a lot of shit there, but okay, you guys know his backstory. He's the boogeyman for a reason. He has focused on charitable giving, on organization. Who is writing this glowing piece on fucking Soros? Seriously. On organizations that build vibrant and inclusive democracies whose governments are accountable to their citizens. Soros is a mega donor to the Democrats. Oh shit. In 2020, he injected more than $28 million into various Democratic campaigns. But yeah, fix campaign finance, right? Right. Okay. He also supports various left causes, okay, that draw the ire of conservatives, like a wealth tax and Black Lives Matter and a summer of riots and disruption. Because he overthrew the pound and broke the Bank of Britain, okay? He said some of the happiest times in his life was going around with his uncle collecting money for the Nazis. This isn't somebody that I'm happy is speaking out against fucking BlackRock, mostly because I think it comes from a spot of jealousy. It sounds like it's somebody who, if he can drop $28 million on a bunch of feckless Democrats, how much money do you think he spent trying to crack into the Chinese market? I'm just wondering, okay? But BlackRock's rebuttal in this was as expected. It was like, no, we aren't going to take advantage, or we aren't going to be taken advantage of by the Chinese. We know what we're doing. We have lots of money. We have more money than they do. They have $9.4 trillion at their fucking disposal. Nothing to see here, obviously. The world's largest asset manager, BlackRock, on September 8th responded to sharp criticism by billionaire investor George Soros, who took issue with the firm's recent investments in China. In a rare Wall Street Journal editorial, yes, we talked about it. Aiding a repressive regime engaged time of a life and death conflict with the democratic values upheld by the United States. Pouring billions of dollars in China now is a tragic mistake. It is likely to lose money for BlackRock's clients and, more importantly, will damage, yes, the security interests of the United States and other democracies. The BlackRock initiative imperils the national security interests of the United States and other democracies because the money invested in China will help prop up President Xi Jinping's regime, which is repressive at home and aggressive abroad. If that statement was said by anybody else, I would love it. But again, context is important. BlackRock responded to the critique of its statement provided to CNBC, the asset manager firm, said that it set up its mutual fund in China after raising over $1 billion from 111,000 investors. The United States and China have a large and complex economic relationship, said the spokesperson, and we want some of that there money. Chinese market represents a significant opportunity to help us meet the long-term goals of investors in China and internationally. Yeah, again, it's the best of intentions, and you're supposed to be, making as much money as you can because you're a fucking hedge fund manager. It totally fucking makes sense, right? But it's also, it could just be like that because what Xi Jinping's doing with people who are wealthy in China right now, just taking their wealth and redistributing out there, making everybody equally poor and destitute. Don't think that's not going to happen to BlackRock because they can just change on a fucking dime because what's happening in China right now? Well, China to wipe out black sheep from the party amid power struggle. There is nobody who is more ruthless, anybody who fits the moniker of radical tyrant more than Xi Jinping, okay? This is the guy who is the enemy of the world. He believes in a one world government, just like Soros. He believes in centralized power, just like Soros. He just thinks that he should be at the front of the table, okay? He thinks that it should just be a small group of people. He thinks that it should just be an inner circle of him and his friends. And you know what? And Soros thinks the same thing. And you know what? Hey, if he's going to be a part of the group, you know what? Hey, he tried to buy his way on, but guess what? It's a big group, right? And he ain't in it. Don't be fooled by the words of Soros. Many people have in the past. He's not looking out for the United States in this one. This is a guy who wanted to be included at the top with the rest of the fucking authoritarians that are out there. The one world government, the new world order types. But Xi is ruthless, okay? Anybody who dare challenges him, they find themselves going missing for a minute. He's just a fatter, more eccentric Stalin. Let's be fair and honest on this one. He's running death camps. He hasn't launched any major wars, yet, because, well, Biden's only been in there for a couple of months, so you got plenty of time to plan ahead. But you take a look at the country, you take a look at the infrastructure that's there, thanks to central planning. Three Rivers Dam, yeah, that one's about ready to fucking crater, and that's going to mean the death and destruction of a lot of motherfuckers, okay? Yep, Beijing is beautiful, and it's well maintained, but you just take a look at North Korea, Pyongyang, oh, beautiful place, everything is properly taken care of. You can see it just lit up at night. It's just the rest of the country is in complete and utter darkness. That's what's happening in China, okay? And he's the guy who wants to expand that the ideology of Chinese-style communism to the rest of the world because he thinks that it's within his purview. It's something that is attainable. It's something that can easily happen through the One Belt, One Road initiative, by seizing intellectual property of the people who don't want to just come over and either work and bend the knee for China. Like, that's why Google went over there and developed a search engine for them, because either, you know, they get a little pittance to go over there and develop it, otherwise China would just steal the intellectual property, and hey, guess what, you'd be totally shit out of luck. So you just tried to make chicken shit into chicken salad. So it's the shit that Soros has been doing on a ground level for a long fucking time. But at the same time, the anthropomorphic wax candle is 91 fucking years old, okay? Sure, I'm sure he has aspirations to live forever and beat Ted Williams, then eventually put on a fucking animatronic body. But hey, man, he could have been getting a little bit too popular. He could have got out of pocket, and that's why he's fighting back against China right now. There's no altruism to this. This is being jealous of BlackRock having more money than him in order to break into China. This is a guy who tried real fucking hard to get his seat at that big old Dr. Strangelove table, and he came back empty. And now, let's see where he goes from here, because I don't believe a fucking word he has to say, but if he's going to be consistent going after China, that's alright. That's alright, but it's going to take a long fucking time that I don't think he has. Not wishing any ill will on him. He's done enough of that on the world. I don't need to add on to it. The time I don't think he has. I just found this entire situation really, really, really weird. I want to know what's at the bottom of this, because it leaves me feeling empty, much like a plate of Chinese food some 30 minutes later. With that said, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.